Good morning, my name's Ryan, and today we're going to talk about interview preparation and some helpful tips for IMGs. So our first tip for IMGs really is to do with Skype. Traditionally, the vast majority of NHS interviews will be via Skype, purely due to logistical reasons. You won't be in the UK to do a face-to-face interview. So how do you alleviate any issues regarding Skype interviews? Sounds fairly simple, but the first thing to do is obviously check the Skype connection. You can do this by being prepared in terms of knowing the Skype ID which the hospital is going to connect with you. Do this in advance and make sure you're connected with the hospital. For IMGs in countries where there are restrictions on social media, Skype can be a huge issue. Another really helpful tip for this, particularly in countries like Saudi Arabia, is to actually download what's called a VPN and then again check the Skype connection. That should resolve any problems to do with connectivity. Okay, so what does a typical NHS Skype interview look like? Typically, the interview will last anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. One of the key questions that will be asked is to explain your skills and experience. Now this is evidenced obviously via the CV that you provide on your application. Really big tip here is to make sure that you know your CV inside and out, just in case there's any difficult questions come up at the interview stage. For example, can you explain this gap in your CV, etc. And again, one of the things that NHS employers are really interested in is why are you currently working in the specialism that you are, why you find it really interesting, what your career aspirations are within that specialism. So give a really good, strong account of yourself. It's probably the job that you've done for a number of years. You should be able to speak passionately about it. Again, they may ask about any teaching experience you've held in previous jobs. They may ask about training that you've gone to, conferences you've attended, all of that type of thing. So again, it's useful to drop that in there. It may be worthwhile exploring that with the interviewer, asking them about what type of training they provide for international medical graduates and how they can make it easier for you to get into a formal training program. Typically, after about 15 minutes into the interview, you're going to be given a clinical scenario question. Again, make sure that you're prepared thoroughly within your specialism for this. You can ask colleagues, friends, get advice from peers about what type of questions will be asked. If in any doubt, then speak to one of your recruiters. We've obviously had numerous doctors interviewed at many different trusts, so typically the same questions do tend to crop up. But again, if you've got any doubts at all, speak to your peers, speak to your colleagues, speak to your recruiters. They should be able to give you some really good advice on that. Okay, so after successfully interviewing at an NHS trust, what to expect next? That's going to be a conditional offer letter that's usually sent from the HR department at the hospital which you will ultimately be employed by. The reason why it's conditional is that you have to fulfil the pre-employment checks in order for you to take up a position. So that may be a requirement that you get your GMC registration and also that you get your visa clearance from the Home Office. One of the things that comes up quite a lot from our IMGs is regarding what point in the salary they will be put on, because when you receive the conditional offer letter, usually there's going to be a range of salary from the minimum up to the top end of the scale. Now, what's really important for IMGs to remember is that you need to provide your proofs of experience or references in order for the NHS hospital to complete the incremental credit form. And then they should be able to give you a definitive salary based on your experience. So once you've successfully completed the pre-employment checks, you're then ready to undertake the next part of the process, which is the relocation process. And that is exactly what our next video is going to be about. So stay tuned. That's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time out of the day to listen and watch the video. And once again, if you have any questions or queries about relocation to the NHS, then please get in touch with us here at BDI Resourcing, and one of the team will be more than happy to help. Thank you.